Alright, fellas. Got the second video of the day. If you didn't see the first one, go watch that one. It was about the Lakers. This one is about the Nets. So during the Bucks and Nets game today, Kyrie Irving went down with an injury. I don't know what could happen. Maybe the Nets will lose now. Maybe Harden comes back the next game and then they win, and Kyrie comes back and then they win in 6 games. But they're gonna have to win in 6 games now if they're gonna win. Or 7. But all I know is that next game is a must-win for the Nets if they want to win. Same goes for the Bucks. Let's get into it.
Well, Mike, it was pretty gruesome watching Kyrie Irving come off the floor, not just twisting that ankle, but when he was down talking to the trainers, he told them several times he needed to wait before he got up because it was
that was an N1, right?
He is now out officially for the rest of the game.
His whole foot did a 90-degree turn, bro. His whole foot turned into a 90-degree angle. It's like his ankle was on the floor, but his ankle just came off, bruh. Ugh. It's like he's standing on his ankle.
The right ankle sprain, and Steve Nash tells me they're just going to have to try to replace him by committee. He said he told his guys in the locker room.
It looks like the high ankle sprain that LeBron had.
Of course,
I don't know.
That is easier said than done when you are now down 2 stars. Of course, James Harden also out for all but the first 43 seconds of this series. Before today's game, Mike, Steve Nash said that James is improving, but he will have to get much more work on the court before he can actually come back in and play.
There's a lot to get into, so I'm going to cut a
actually come back in and play. To get much more work on the court before he can actually come back in and play.
Oh, wait, he did travel.
Much more work on the court before he can actually come back in and play.
There's a lot to get into, so I'm going to cut a super quick intro and let you know that tomorrow I'm going to be announcing the Apple AirPod Max giveaway. And now that we got all that out of the way, cue the intro.
Man, get the longest intro on YouTube.
Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? This game 4 between the Brooklyn Nets and the Milwaukee Bucks was a pivotal game to say the least, because if the Brooklyn Nets would have won, the Milwaukee Bucks was a pivotal game to say the least, because if the Brooklyn Nets would have won, they would have went up 3-1 in the series, and typically you don't see 3-1 series leads being blown unless if you're the Golden State Warriors in the NBA Finals, or if you're Kevin Durant's OKC Thunder the series prior to that. Cheap shots aside, even though we've seen teams come back from 3-1, it's very unlikely and almost insurmountable more oftentimes than not. And in this scenario, what made this game so pivotal is we saw multiple events occur in front of our very eyes that may have swung the momentum in the favor of a particular team. If you remember in game 1 and 2, it was almost no contest. It was actually so one-sided that I really felt like the Milwaukee Bucks didn't even stand a chance at their own home court. And if you go back to those 2 games, I'm sure you wouldn't be able to blame me because it seemed that one-sided when the Brooklyn Nets were playing at home. Now, obviously, the Milwaukee Bucks were able to defeat the Brooklyn Nets at full strength, but the question remained, how on earth will this team steal an away game and get home court from the Brooklyn Nets? Will this team defeat the Brooklyn Nets at full strength? We're playing at home. Now, obviously, the Milwaukee Bucks were able to defeat the Brooklyn Nets at full strength, but the question remained,
Huh? Not in the playoffs. I mean, the regular season.
how on earth will this team steal an away game and get home court from the Brooklyn Nets? Because bear in mind, the Brooklyn Nets weren't even complete when they were decimating the Milwaukee Bucks in the first 2 games. As a matter of fact, James Harden only played for about 40 seconds of this series before once again going down with hamstring tightness. And it seemed like Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant, and I even said this in the beginning of the season, and this isn't to say that they made a mistake in trading for James Harden.
This man PJ Tucker tried to get KD's fix, and then KD just lit him up for like a whole 12 points after this, or it was something like that. They still won the game, but that was funny. In his face like that. I think he called him a bitch too. I'm not too sure what he's saying, or KD called him one. I don't know.
Harden, but I really thought that Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant were more than enough to win a championship. That's how great I think both of those players are. And you guys already know that I have a history with Kyrie Irving on this channel, so for me to go out and admit that is something. The entire fate of the Brooklyn Nets may have been completely altered in the second quarter at about...
Yeah, PJ Tucker is one of those annoying locks on 2K who would just lock you up on offense and then give the ball to the guard and sit in the corner on defense, bro. Oh God. I mean, sit in the corner on on offense. He's a corner setter on defense. He's a hacker. Bro, he's talking shit. Yeah, he's one of those. He's one of those.
At the 6-minute mark, when Kyrie Irving gruesomely twisted his ankle, and we still have yet at the time of this video to figure out the degree of that ankle sprain. So the Brooklyn Nets were dealing with injuries all year in the form of Spencer Dinwiddie, then James Harden, and now Kyrie Irving twisted his ankle, and at this point we don't even know the degree of the ankle sprain. And I know I bring this up over and over and over again on my channel. You guys already know that I'm a huge proponent for getting these players more rest. I didn't support starting the NBA season 57 days after the NBA Finals. We saw both of the starting the...
Man, KD, I mean, I know that hoodie's like an extra large or something, but his arm's still too long for the deal.
The NBA season 57 days after the NBA Finals, we saw both of the defending champions for the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference Finals get eliminated in the first round. And I think a huge reason why is either the teams had to deal with injuries. In the case of the Miami Heat, they had to deal with Victor Oladipo's injury, although that's not really as a result of wear and tear. But in the Los Angeles Lakers case, they had to deal with Anthony Davis being injured, Dennis Schroeder coming back at the very last second right before the playoffs, and LeBron James coming back prematurely from an ankle injury after an injury as well. As a matter of fact, we've seen multiple player injuries drastically affect the outcome of this NBA playoffs. From Jamal Murray's ACL tear, Donovan Mitchell is lucking out so far, but we've seen instances where it looks like the man is one wrong turn away from being out the rest of the playoffs with a severe injury because he came back prematurely from an injury. And now Kyrie Irving, we don't know at the time I'm making this video, might be out for a couple of games, and the landscape of the East is completely shifted. I think this also, as unfortunate as it is,
whoever win this round, whoever win this, doesn't count, bro. It's Mickey Mouse ring. Or I guess that's how other people say it.
Is a remarkable opportunity for Kevin Durant to really show us how great he is. A few weeks ago, I was encountering a decent amount of Los Angeles Lakers slander. A lot of people were making fun of LeBron James for not being able to carry an Anthony Davis-less Los Angeles Lakers team against the first round against the second-seeded Phoenix Suns. And to be honest, if Kevin Durant can't do it, then I honestly wouldn't hold it against him, because most players in this situation will not be able to pull out a victory without their star-studded teammates. You go back to the 2015 NBA Finals when LeBron James had to face off against the Golden State Warriors during their first finals appearance without Kevin Love and Kyrie Irving, and no matter how well he performed, no matter how well his role players stepped up, he still wasn't able to beat the Golden State Warriors. You go back to when the Golden State Warriors blew a 3-1 series lead, and something that's not discussed as much in that series versus the Cleveland Cavaliers was when Draymond Green was suspended in the midst of that series. That definitely gave the Cleveland Cavaliers at least some hope to come back, and I'm not saying that's the entire reason they lost, but you have to admit that's a big contributing factor to the Golden State Warriors eventually losing the NBA Finals to the Cleveland Cavaliers. And now, based off of the information we get from Kyrie Irving, and hopefully, honestly, hopefully he comes back soon, because injuries suck and you never want to see an injury take out a player in probably the most pivotal point of the season. This is a very unique opportunity for Kevin Durant to potentially step up and really clear his name as one of those players that has a reputation of joining the 73-9 Golden State Warriors to win 2 championships and forming his own super team in Brooklyn to win a championship. What better way to shut up the haters than to carry this team, despite James Harden being injured and despite Kyrie Irving being injured, all the way to the NBA Finals and to win a championship? championship. Personally, I don't like betting against greatness, but in the landscape of today's NBA, it never comes down to just one player's ability to being able to carry an entire team to the NBA Finals. And even if they are able to achieve that, very rarely do you see that one player being able to win a NBA championship despite carrying that team to the NBA Finals. A good example of this is the 2007 Cleveland Cavaliers. LeBron James was able to carry the Cavaliers literally to the NBA Finals, but over there they met a very complete San Antonio Spurs, and they were absolutely decimated in that NBA Finals. In this instance, I don't think Kevin Durant's situation, assuming that his teammates aren't going to be able to come back for a decent amount of time, I don't think his situation favors him, especially his play style, because Kevin Durant isn't necessarily known for his ability to facilitate for his teammates. He is the best scorer in the entire NBA, but in order to really make the most out of his skill set, he needs someone else to handle.
That's what I'm saying. If James Harden or Kyrie doesn't play, bro, no facilitators for real. Going to be tough, real tough.
Playmaking responsibilities so he could focus on what he does best, which is score. The moment you take Kyrie Irving and James Harden out of the equation, defenses could key in on Kevin Durant. He'll see a lot of double teams. Hell, he might even see some triple teams, and they might dare a player like Bruce Brown to shoot. This puts a lot of pressure on Kyrie Irving or James Harden to come back from their injury in order to really capitalize off of what the Brooklyn Nets built. Because
look at him trying to complain, bro. That's not a foul,
a lot of
bro.
Pressure on Kyrie Irving or James
threw your whole body into him.
Harden to come back from the.
That's not your normal shooting form, bro. Come on, that's not your normal shooting form. You wanted the contest, so you got it. You saying get no call.
Their injury. It's a lot of pressure on Kyrie Irving or James Harden to come back from their injury in order to really capitalize off of what the Brooklyn Nets built. Because as remarkable of a talent that I think Kevin Durant is, I don't think he can do this alone. So let me know in the comments section down below, what do you guys think? Do you think Kevin Durant is great enough to carry this team to the NBA Finals? Or do you think that the entire NBA Finals is going to be based upon either James Harden or Kyrie Irving's ability to return from injury?
Yes.
If you made it to the end, drop a prayer for Kyrie Irving in the comment section down below, because what we saw happen to him was absolutely gruesome, and you never want to see that in the game of basketball. Of course, make sure you subscribe and turn on our notifications.
But without KD, without Kyrie or Harden, this team, this Nets team, this is as far as they go, sadly. Because KD can't beat this team by himself. Even at OKC, at least he had Russell Westbrook. You don't got nobody now, but you got a 14 points per game Blake Griffin. Nah, buddy. Yeah, let me know what y'all think in the comments, man. I don't know. Can the Nets still beat the Bucks even without Kyrie or Harden? Let me know.